Is carnivore required, and will I continue? Good morning. I'd like to address a question that came up. Is carnivore required? That's an interesting question. It's actually one that had occurred to me before, way back before I ever tried carnivore. You know, my story is that I had been diagnosed as diabetic, and I was trying to get my blood sugar under control. And I had really good results using primarily intermittent fasting uh, and the ketogenic diet, and lost 82 pounds, brought my A1C from a 9.9 down to a 4.9. You're all familiar with that, but as I learn more and more in this field, I noticed that a lot of people that I respected and watched their YouTube videos and read their books and everything, a lot of them some of them had started out on paleo, and then gone to keto, and then along the way discovered intermittent fasting and had good results. And then some of them say that they accomplished 80% of their goals with all that, but then once they discovered carnivore, then they reached that 100% mark or whatever. Well, my story is different. I reached 100% of my goals in terms of the diabetes and the weight loss and all that. I reached 100% of my goals with intermittent fasting. I always put that number one because I think it was the most powerful thing I did, was intermittent fasting, and then with the ketogenic diet. And I'll give you my definition of the ketogenic diet is low, very, very low carb, moderate protein, and high fat. And I had great success with that. That was during the time of day when I was eating for a good part of the time. I was doing one meal a day. I now do 2 meals a day because I'm no longer trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to maintain, and mainly still trying to keep that blood sugar under control. And I've been able to do that. And I recently did a 30-day trial of carnivore because I had been curious about it for quite some time. For about 6 months before I tried it, I had been really curious about carnivore and wanted to give it a try. And I was really happy with it because it was so easy to control my carbohydrate intake with it. There were certain things I missed. I missed avocados. I love avocados. I missed the occasional vegetables like spinach or asparagus or green beans. And I also missed nuts. It was actually kind of nice not to eat nuts because I'm always tempted to overeat nuts. And the nuts that I eat on keto are macadamia nuts and pecans, but it's always tempting to overdo it with those. And so it was actually, during the 30 days of carnivore, it was easier to just not have them at all than to have a small amount, because for me, once I start tasting the nuts, then I have trouble stopping. But at any rate, it was not required for me to do carnivore in order to keep my blood sugar and my weight and everything under control. It was not required at all. Now, some people that really, really benefit from carnivore are people with autoimmune disorders. The most impressive one I saw was a testimony of a young woman that has MS, and carnivore changed her life. I mean, it literally changed her life. And I've seen the stories of Jordan Peterson and his daughter Michaela Peterson. She had severe arthritis and other autoimmune type issues, and she had the daughter had great results with the carnivore. Jordan Peterson himself struggled with depression and anxiety, and he had great results from carnivore. But those were not my issues, and many of my subscribers, I know from conversations, that you're trying to control your diabetes, and carnivore is not required for controlling diabetes. It's a tool that you could use, but it's certainly not required. And after my 30-day trial, I was going to decide whether I continue with carnivore or not. I haven't. I've gone back to enjoying some avocados and some vegetables with my meals. But again, my goal for the rest of my life is going to be to keep that blood sugar under control. And I know that carnivore is a tool that I could use, but it's not anything that I have to do. I can get the results that I want by going low carb, moderate protein, high fat, and still using some intermittent fast. I still use intermittent fasting, not at the 1 meal a day pattern, but at 2 meals a day. But I have that in a narrow window of the day during 4 to 6 hours. So I'm fasting anywhere from 18 to 20 hours a day, and only eating it in a 4 to 6 hour window. And so carnivore has some real benefits, particularly with those who have autoimmune disorders or anxiety or depression or other issues. It's the ultimate elimination diet, so that you can discover what foods it is that you're sensitive to. But if you don't have those kind of issues and you just want to control your blood sugar and keep your weight down, you can do that without carnivore. I have, and that's everything on my channel is primarily telling my story and what I've done. And so even though I tried carnivore, it's not a progression that everyone has to make. Again, that was the impression I was beginning to get. I'd see these people going from paleo to keto and then on to carnivore, and I was like, well, is that something I have to do? I mean, I knew intuitively that I didn't have to do it, but I was curious to give it a try. But I don't want to leave anybody watching my videos with the impression, well, you have to go carnivore, if you're going to have success. Because if all you're trying to do is control your blood sugar and defeat diabetes, you don't have to go carnivore. It's a tool you could use, but you don't have to do it. So remember, live healthy, finish strong. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. And as always, nothing in my videos is intended to be medical advice. I'm just telling my own story.